So hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's CalFX here and I'm back with another one. So in today's video, we will do a forecast on some of the moves that we may see happening on, in the next week. I actually be back in trading in Tuesday because tomorrow Monday is the Labor's Day. So most banks of Europe will be closed. So I figured that the momentum will be very low for me to trade. So about this week, this was actually a very solid week. It was a very solid end of the month of April. I actually had 2 losses, 2 winners, and 1 break even. So, and we have this one right here. I think you guys can see it was on EURUSD. I took this trade, it was on Thursday. So it ended up peaking at 1 to 85, but I took my partial 1 to 63. Right, the last partial 1 to 63, and the first partial I took a 1 to 11 or 12 because it was around news, right? So I had set the sell stop, but the whole high time frame intention, right, was there, right? I even sent on the free Telegram group also the high time frame intention of it, right? The reason, just to quickly do a sum up on this trade, the reason why I took a sell on this, because I actually ended up taking a sell off the 3 minutes time frame. But just by looking at 4 hour, we can see that, price actually had failed to close above, right, this previous high. So usually when you have a body break, that's a good sign that, okay, price is ready to continue to move towards the upside. But once you see price rejecting aggressively like this one, this was a sign of bullish sentiment in the market depleting, right? So then that's when I went to M15, then 3 minutes, and I looked for the trade right there. And I was able to catch a very good 1 to 85 risk to reward ratio, right? So as you guys can see, this is just by keeping that consistency, right? And all these trades actually sent on the group, beforehand. All the trades that I personally take, I always make sure I send on the group beforehand so everybody can take the trade. Because, the community, it's all about learn and earn together, right? So that's the focus of it. So, so before I start with the outlook, just want to let you guys know that the discount, there is a discount or 35% discount on the lifetime mentorship. So the offer will end in May 8th, right? So if you guys are interested, feel free to let me know. I'll leave my contact on the description below so you guys can, talk to me about it. So if you guys are interested, the discount will end in May 8th. So feel free to let me know. So let's get on with the video. Now, EURUSD, we can start from the daily time frame. Simply, we can see that, it's quite visible right here. On the daily time frame, we can see that price is heavily bullish, right? We can see the strength of euro against the dollar, right? We can see that we had this previous high, low, right? Just reading the swing structure, right? We can see that we had this swing low, then we had this swing high. Then price came back to mitigate this order block, continued to push to the upside. We can see that price closed above the previous high, showing the strength of this bullish order flow, right? So price then broke structure. And we can see that we have this internal structure price action right here. This break, mitigation, second break, price came back to mitigate. And now we were expecting to see price closing above that previous high, right? So what happened is that once price action got into the PO, once price came all the way up here, it failed to close above this previous high. So let me just zoom in a little bit. Here we are at the daily time frame, right? So we have this beautiful bullish order flow right here. So once price comes here, right? We always expecting to see price to close above a previous high. That shows the strength of the move, right? So if price had closed above, it will show that, okay, the bulls are still strong at this particular moment. But what happened is that price came here and it failed to close above the previous high. So now, usually, this is not a confirmation of trend shift. This is just, it can be a sign of the bullish sentiment in the market depleting and the sellers actually stepping into the market and take control. So what happened is that price came and failed to close up. It ended up violating the previous high, but it failed to close above the body, right? So usually when it comes to break of structure, much reliable breakout structure is the one where we have break or body breaks, right, above previous high or below previous low. So right here, we just had this week, right? So this was a sign that, okay, bulls were coming here, then the sellers took over and, made the price actually close below this previous high. So this was a sign of bullish sentiment in the market depleting and sales taking over, right, the control. So once we drop down to 4-hour time frame, I still don't consider the price to be bearish to come all the way down, right? Because we had this swing high, this internal swing high, right? We had this high, then we had this low. Price here failed to close above. So this can be a first sign that, okay, the bulls have lost control, have lost power right here at this particular moment. Now, we may see price actually coming to this, because we have this supply zone right here. So there is a possibility the price may come here and drop all the way down to grab this liquidity and come to this point of interest below, right? So this is what I'm still eyeing for the week, right? I'm still waiting to see if price actually will pull back all the way down to this order block below, because we still have relative, imbalance sitting below right here, right? And we have a very clean order block, right? That price can just come to, and then we continue to move to the upside, right? But there is also a possibility that the price may just pull back, right? I mean, because right here we can see the price also failed to close below this previous low. So there's a possibility the price may just continue to push up, and then we have that body closure on the daily, right? So if I drop down to hourly time frame, for example, this is what I was seeing, right? We just had this break of structure right here. We can see, okay, this was a break of structure, and this right here was the point of interest, right? We can use this one. I ended up using the M15, I guess. Let me just check. That's perfect. Yeah, that's the one. This one right here was the M15 point of interest, right? And we can see the price just grabbed this liquidity right here, sitting at this, with these two relatively equal highs, right? But price just came and grabbed liquidity. So there's a possibility that we may see price actually coming all the way down, right? Taking out those lows and come to this 4-hour bullish order block sitting below. Or we may see price continue to move towards the upside, right? So this is what I'm still, once price opens, once the market opens, I will still wait for selling opportunities. Maybe, I won't be able to catch anything because tomorrow I won't trade because the volume will be lower. But there is a possibility that the price may just come all the way down, taking out those lows and react to that 4-hour order block. But we still also have in mind that price can continue to move to the upside to give us that daily body closure, right? So that's it for EURUSD. Let's move to the next pair. So Aussie dollar, we can start from the weekly time frame just to get the, Aussie dollar likes to start from the monthly just to get the clear higher time frame picture, right? And this is actually very important so you can be able to understand what's the higher time frame intention. It will help you to be able to situate yourself on the lower time frame. So right here, we can see that we had this previous low, and then we had this high, and then price just made this low. So when you look at the structure on the monthly, the structure is bearish. So the intention is bearish, right? So what we can see, the price actually came to this extreme supply zone, and now we started to continue the move towards the downside. And we expect to see price to continue that bearish on the floor by taking out those lows, right? And, maintain the bearish on the floor intact. Now, this is the monthly, right? So then what we do is we drop down to the weekly time frame. We want to see the weekly also matching with the monthly, right, to be bearish. So we look at the price action right here. We can see that there is a beautiful bearish order flow right here. We see the break, push, break, push, break. Price now came aggressively, used this previous high as inducement, right? And we can see the price didn't close above. It just wicked to react to this unmitigated supply zone right here. So we had this mitigation. We expect price to come at least to take out the weekly previous low, right? So this is, very visible right here that the bearish order flow is still intact. So once price taps the weekly, this weekly point of interest, I would like to drop down to the daily time frame to see that daily change of character, right? So once price tapped into that weekly supply zone, we can see that we had this swing daily structure, right? We had this daily high, this swing low, and then this swing high, right? And then we can see that price gave us a daily change of character right here, just mitigated at this zone right here, which is a very valid supply zone, right, for mitigation. So once I have my daily supply zone, what I like to do is I like to drop down to the hourly time frame to look for that hourly change of character, right? So we drop down to 4 hour. So once we're at the 4 hour, we can see that, okay, we had this internal structure low, right? Because the swing structure is this high, and then this low, and then this high, right? And we can see the price actually failed to close above the previous high. And what did we say? What did we say about, whenever price fails to close above? Is that the bullish sentiment was depleting. That's one of the reasons why we had this strong push to the downside. Then price came back to mitigate this week, and we had this push to the downside. So it's very repetitive pattern, right? So we have price just broke this previous high. We had right here this break right here. We had a very nice order flow actually on the 1 hour M30, right? But we can see the price action just broke structure, pushed to the downside, ended up taking this swing low, right? This previous structure low right here. So the 4 hour swing low was violated right here, right? So now what we see is that, okay, price did exactly the same thing here. It broke structure to the upside. It pushed, failed to close above that previous structure high right here with this week. It failed to close above, and then we had this strong break of structure of this low. So now we're expecting to see price reacting at this supply zone right here. So this right here will be the POI that I'll be eyeing for the week. So this is a 4 hour, right? So what I recommend to do, right, is once price comes to your 4 hour, you can drop down to M15. Once price comes to M15, you wait for M15 change of character, and then you can drop down to lower time frames such as M3 or M1, right? But this right here is the POI that I'll be eyeing for the next week on Aussie dollar, right? So that's it for Aussie dollar. Let's move to the next pair. So pound dollar is still, if we look at it from the weekly time frame, is that price had broken structure. We had a nice pullback, and then it broke structure again. And then price came aggressively to the upside, right, towards this unmitigated supply zone that is sitting up here. So price is still reacting at that supply zone. I'm still bearish from the weekly time frame, right? My bias is still bearish because I would really love to see price actually taking out this weekly high, so I can finally be bullish, long term. But as of now, price is still reacting to this supply zone. So I still want to see what's going to happen, during the week, because also we have NFP. So, we will have a very significant reaction, right, in price. So I want to see if this supply zone will hold, and then we will see price dropping because we have so much imbalances, sitting below right here on GU. So there is a possibility that we may see price start to break structure to the downside. But because this is a weekly supply zone, in order for me to be bearish, I need to see that daily change of character, right? So let's just drop down to the daily time frame and see what's happening. So we can see that price actually got into the POI. And we can see that price is still overall bullish, right? We haven't seen that bearish intention yet. So there is a possibility that even this supply zone might end up getting violated, right? Price actually came the first time, pulled back, pushed again. On the daily, it failed to close above. So we already know, what happens, right? In that situation, bullish sentiment was depleting. But what happened? We had that confirmation now. Price ended up closing above this previous high, right? So on the 4 hour, yes, we had a border closure right here, right? So we can see that price broke structure, came back to mitigate this point of interest, broke structure again. We had this nice mitigation right here at this zone, right? There was a very extreme bullish order block right here on the M15. And then price just closed above right here, right? Just pretty much we had another 4-hour break of structure to the upside. So I can just keep it like this real quick. This one, right? So we can still we see this point of interest right here. This is a valid order block. This was actually the decision of down candle before the up move that finally ended up violating the previous 4-hour high. So the structure on the 4-hour is still bullish. So I'm still bullish on GU, though price is still reacting at a weekly supply zone. But I would love to see price actually pull it back. So if M15 turns bearish, I'll look for sales all the way down to this order block. That's all. That's my target because the 4-hour is still bullish. So if on the M15, for example, I see M15 change of character, I will still look for sales on the lower time frame, such as M3, M1, and I will sell all the way down to this order block. Then I will see the reaction because price is more likely to continue the move to the upside, or it will just come down and then give us that 4-hour change of character that we need to see. All right. So that's it for GU. Let's move to the next page. Aussie dollar, we can just look at it from the weekly, right? Because I mean the higher time frame intention can be visibly seen right here on the weekly time frame. And if I just zoom in a little bit, we can see that this is exactly what happened on Aussie dollar, right? Exactly the same thing. There seems to be a good correlation between New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar, right? So we can see the price actually broke structure, pulled back, broke it, right? And we can see the price ended up using this previous high as inducement to react at this unmitigated 4-hour supply zone. And then we saw this very nice change of character right here. So this is pretty much like a daily change of character that we will see, right? So once price comes to my weekly supply zone, I'd like to drop down to the daily time frame. So once we drop down to the daily time frame, we can see something quite interesting right here. Because I had some people actually questioning me why I actually consider this zone and I mean why price reacted at this point of interest, right? And not this one. So the reason why I also mark this one and also this one is because when it comes to sales, I like to sell anything above 50% of Fibonacci, right? So what I mean about it is that, for example, let's say you have a break of structure to the downside. Sometimes you may have a POI at the extreme right here, which is very, very clean. And most people say, okay, I'll just set a limit, an alarm here, and I'll wait for price to come to this point of interest. But sometimes you have to realize that you may have a point of interest at the 50% of this range, right? So I like to use the fib from this range, for example, or range low to this range high. Sometimes you may have a very clean order block right here, right? At this zone right here. And this right here is above the 50%. So for me, there is a possibility that price may react at this zone and continue to move to the downside, or it will come all the way to the extreme. At first, we don't know what's going to happen, right? So in insights, it's quite easy to say, okay, I will pick this one or this one above. But sometimes price can react here and drop, or it can come to the extreme and then continue to move to the downside. So for me, once I see anything above 50%, I'm willing to drop down to lower time frames and look for selling opportunities. So that's exactly what we saw right here on New Zealand dollar. Price actually had this very nice swing high, right? Swing low. Then price created this high right here. And then we had this low. Then price created this high. Exactly what we saw both on Aussie dollar and EURUSD. What happens when price fails to close above a high with a body? That's a sign of bullish sentiment in the market depleting. So it's very, I hope you guys take notes on this, because sometimes you may see price failing to close above, and you can look for opportunities on lower time frame here. So you can ride all this, bearish push to the downside right there. So we can see that once price came here, it failed to close above the previous high. That was the first sign of bullish sentiment in the market depleting. So that's why this swing low actually was violated. So we had this zone right here, this point POI, which was very clean. And we also had this one at the extreme. So once price came here, I said, okay, this is the daily. Once price comes to my daily supply, I will look for hourly change of character, right? So once price tapped this daily, I dropped down to the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that if we look at the swing structure, we had this high, right? We had this low, and then we had this previous high. So what happened? If we know that price is going to continue this bullish order flow, we expect at least price to react to this order block and then continue to move towards the upside, right? But what happened in this case? Price didn't do that. Price took out that low, and then it came back to mitigate the supply that was responsible for violation of this low right here. Perfect mitigation, and drop all the way to the downside. So once we have the second break, that was a confirmation of trend reversal, right? Once we have the second break of structure right here, it was a confirmation that the bullish, that we have changed bias from bullish to bearish, right? So now we can see this beautiful price action right here happening on New Zealand dollar. Price came again to this supply zone, right? So I'm still waiting to see, because this is the 4 hour, I want to see what's going to be the reaction on M15. So if I see M15 change of character to the downside, I will start to look for sales on the lower, much lower time frame, such as M1 or M3, right? But also, there is a possibility that price may decide to come all the way up here to this supply zone right here, right? So still keep in mind of this point of interest, but you have to also, you know, keep a look, keep an eye on this point of interest right here, because price may just continue all the move to the downside right here. So I mean, New Zealand dollar price action is just absolutely, I mean, beautiful right here on the hourly time frame. So everything is just, you know, laid out right there. The intention, you know, from the monthly, right? We went from the monthly all the way to the daily. I mean, from the weekly, daily, 4 hour, everything is in alignment, right? We see that bearish order flow intact, right? So that's it for New Zealand dollar, guys. Let's move to the next pair. Now, let's look at UJ. UJ, we can look at it just, let's start from the weekly, right? And I remember I've been sending this outlook since last December, December 2022. And I remember price was still here. We were waiting for price to tap this point of interest and continue to move towards the upside. So, I mean, fair play for those people that, for example, set a limit order here for those position traders, right? Because, I mean, this would have been a very good zone. Price ended up using this low as inducement, right? And then reacted here, and now it's starting to push towards the upside, right? So, for example, on this one, once price comes to your weekly bullish order block, I like to wait for daily change of character. It's a much better confirmation, right? Once price comes to your weekly, wait for daily change of character. So, okay, price tapped our weekly. So we want to read structure on the daily, right? So what we saw is that, okay, price had this swing low, swing high, right? And then we had this swing low. Then price created this high, had this low, right? Then price actually had this last point of supply right here before it made this final low. But now we just had this swing high right here that was broken right here. So we had this strong push. This was a change of character right there, right? So change of character, as we know, is not a confirmation of trend shift. It's just the first sign of trend reversal. First sign, right? So right here, we just had this beautiful change of character. Price came to this point of interest right here, right? And now we're expecting to see price continue to move to the upside. So once price comes at our daily bullish order block, what do we do next? We drop down to hourly time frame and we look for change of character. So we can drop down to 4 hours, right? So once price comes to your 4 hour, once price taps your daily, you want to look for 4 hour change of character, right? So if you look at the swing structure, we can see that, okay, we had this swing low, then we had this swing high, and then we had this swing low. So this high was only broken right here. And we can see that, okay, we had this last down candle before the up move. Here's the order block. So this one right here, this could have been your entry. You could have set a limit order here, stop loss below the order block, and then the move all the way to the upside. So this, we can see this beautiful price action all the way up, right? So right here, we just had this 2 breaks of structures right here on the 4 hour, right? Price broke structure, came back, mitigated, and then we had a second break of structure. Then what happened? We had this order block. This actually I sent while price was here. I also sent on the free Telegram group. So if some of you guys took the trade, I mean, fair play, right? So we have this very nice 4 hour order block right here. price just tapped and continued to move to the upside. So, for example, if price taps my 4-hour order block, what should I do next? I drop down to M15 or M30 and I look for confirmation. So let's say, for example, in this scenario, if we had a nice confirmation here, I mean, we did, of course, because if you look at the swing structure, right, we had this high, low, right? Then price made this high. Price made this high, right? Then it made this low. So, okay, right here, up to this point, the structure is still bearish. What do I need in order for me to buy? At least a change of character. We had a change of character right there, right? So we can just say, okay, this right here was our break of structure right here. This was a very valid break of structure. So what is the order block? The last down candle before the up move. And guess what? This low right here had swept liquidity before it pushed to the upside to break structure. So this is a very strong low right here, because this low right here, very important, guys, very, very important. This low grabbed liquidity and then pushed to the upside. So price had to come back to this order block. This is what we call RTO, return to order block, right? So this right here would have been a very, very good confirmation right here. You could have taken the trade right here, stop loss below. And for example, let me just quickly put the order right here. You could have gone with like maybe a 35 pip stop loss, right? A 35 pip stop loss. Your first target would have to be this 4-hour high right here, just to maintain the order flow, right? This would have been a beautiful 1 to 4. And if you just held the position, I mean, I think you would have made roughly 1 to 9 almost, right? But a nice 8 RR right there. You know, beautiful prices, just following the 4-hour and M15, right? So I'll still make I'm still building on the course, right? That will be the volume 2 on the course for the mentorship. I'm still building a very good M15 model. So, I mean, stay tuned for that, right? So that's it for UJ, right? Price just gave that 4-hour change of character, right? And we had the 4-hour, the second break right here. So we just had this third break of structure. So we expected this daily right here to be violated right here, right? So we will still be looking for buying opportunities all the way up just to take out that daily high and continue to move all the way to the weekly high, right? That's it for you, Jay. Let's move to the last pair. So gold, we can look at it from the monthly, right? We can see that, I mean, gold for so long has been outperforming the dollar. Right, there's been, I mean, it's just historical, right? We can just see this, I mean, this break right here, mitigation, then the second break of structure. I think is visible on the weekly. Let me just quickly go there. Right, so we just had this very nice bullish order flow right here, break, mitigation, second break, right? We had this buildup of liquidity. What happened? Price swept this liquidity and started pushed to the upside, right? Right here, very, very, very clean. I mean, if you look at the outlooks that I've been sending since the month of since September or October, once price was still here, we were still looking at this order block right here. We expected price to take out this. So we can see that, I mean, it's very good to see the whole outlook playing out, you know, as expected. We have equal highs right here. Still expecting price to come and continue to push the move to us, the upside, grabbing these highs and, you know, just to solidify, you know, that strength of the gold over the dollar, right? So we can see that once price tapped our weekly supply zone, right? We just had this, once it tapped the monthly supply zone, we had this weekly change of character. Price mitigated this order block that was here, right? This was like the decision over the block that finally took out this previous high. So price came down to it and then continued to move to the upside. Now, there is huge amount of imbalance sitting below. So I'm still expecting to see if gold is going to pull back all the way down to this one, and then we continue to move to the upside, right? But it will only be the sign of it, we will be able to see on the 4 hours. So let's drop down to the 4-hour time frame. So what we can see on the 4 hour is that the structure is still, I mean, it's still bullish. It's quite, we can say that we had this 4 hour change of character right here, right? We had this high, right? Then we had this low, and then price created this high. So we can say that, okay, this right here was a change of character. So we have this supply zone that price is more likely to react to. But price also just tapped this bullish order block. And we can see that this low right here is a strong one because it grabbed liquidity before it pushed to the upside. So there's a possibility that price, because we had this, this is not a very good tap, right? I'm still expecting to see gold actually coming below this one and then continue to move to the upside, right? So we can see that this is right here is a very strong low. So we will see if this low is going to hold. If it does, we're gonna I'll drop down to M15 time frame and then look for buying opportunities all the way up, right? But in order for price to come to that weekly demand bullish order block that we have below, we will need to see price actually taking out this low right here, this 4-hour low, and then we'll be able to sell all the way down. All right. So I hope I was able to make this forecast clear for you guys. So just to remember, guys, there is the 35% discount. It will end in May 8th. So if you're interested, feel free to hit my DM. The link is on the description below. So please, guys, like the video, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.